Give me my theme music!
What's up, Buffs Nation, and welcome into Buffs News Weekly Live. I'm your host, Russ. Appreciate you guys for joining me. It's been a little over a week since our last stream. Going to be a little bit more regular now moving forward, but we're also going to have a little bit of some low-tech streams probably until July. So if you're just catching the show here for the first time, do know this is not the usual setup. And actually, things are going to be a lot more upgraded once we hit that July month. I just moved back to Colorado, so getting situated in our new home, going to get everything set up, and going to upgrade a bunch of things in my studio room. So be on the lookout for that. Just bear with me, hang with me these next couple weeks. We're going to be all set to ready and rock and roll for this upcoming season this fall. And it starts with getting everything kind of upgraded and some much more production value to everything that you guys are going to see. So appreciate you guys for sticking with me, hanging with me, showing your support over the last couple of weeks. It is, like I said, so amazing, so greatly appreciated. And so thank you so much. Appreciate you. Tommy, Atlanta in here. Cam, we are going to talk about Deacon. Welcome in, Keith. Appreciate you dropping by. Not that far away from Boulder. I'm about 25, 30 minutes outside of Boulder, Colorado, in northern Colorado. So, yeah, I am right in the Buffs' backyard. And I may be the only content creator for the Buffs now that is this close to the actual location, unless you're actually on campus. So, hey, I got that going for me now. So welcome back in. Lady C, how's it going? Appreciate you dropping by as always. Yeah, I have seen the new turf. I will say, the turf itself for football, not the best idea. However, I think it looks sick because the all black end zone is what a lot of us have been asking for, and I absolutely love that black end zone. The logo at midfield looks clean. Overall, I think it's just going to look very, very clean. So at least there's that part to it. Now, is it good on the old ACL? Probably not, but it looks good. And hey, as Prime always says, look good, feel good, play good. They pay good. I think we're going to be looking pretty darn good this season. How's it going, King John? Welcome back in. Appreciate you dropping by today. Boulder restaurants need to create a Deacon Schmidt burger ASAP. Keep Deacon home. We'll talk about this a little bit more, just so I can let you guys know my thoughts on that today. It looks great, though. Yeah, I agree, Lady C. I do think the turf overall looks good. And it's going to look good year-round, which is the great part about it. So when recruits come during the offseason in Colorado, when grass has a tendency to not look so great, that stadium is still going to look pristine. Now, the question is, how's it going to play? And we'll find out this fall. So, again, welcome in. We are going to be talking about a number of different topics going over the last week of football. But, of course, we'll start with the big topic, the thumbnail, the news that's been circulating around, which, of course, is Coach Prime's health. Happy to hear that he actually came out, spoke on it, says things are looking good. He'll be back on campus soon. So I don't think there's anything to really worry about when it comes to that. We wouldn't have heard from Prime. He wouldn't have even addressed it if it was serious. So good to hear from Prime that he is on the mend recovering and that he will be back in Boulder soon. The big thing I want to let people know is even if he wasn't in Boulder right now, it's summer workouts. Anytime the team has done workouts, whether it's the spring workouts, the winter workouts, the summer workouts, Whenever that happens, most of the coaching staff is not around when that occurs. They're either out recruiting, they're taking short vacations because it's the only time of the year they can really take vacations at all. So it really becomes an opportune moment. I mean, we remember back in the winter, people were like, "Where's Coach Sapp? Where's Coach Sapp?" all the time. And a lot of it to do with Coach Sapp gets to, head out, be on vacation, be away from the team during those times. That's what this period is really used for. It's more up to Coach Swayze and that strength and conditioning staff to just work the kids hard, get them ready for the season, get ready what's coming forward. That's what this time is for. And they're not even really allowed to meet with any of the main coaches and do any sort of ball work at this time. Any of the ball work that you're seeing when it comes to well off media and all those videos, that's all player led. Those are all things that they're doing on their own, has nothing to do with the coaching staff themselves. So that's always something that we want to address and go forward and understand when it comes to that. Okay. It's true. I mean, Coach Prime is not even usually on campus at this point, so there's nothing he's really missing. The only thing he is missing, which we did find out about and they've rescheduled, was some official visit stuff where those official visits have been moved and pushed to make sure that Coach Prime can be present and be there to be a part of the recruiting weekend that is going on in Boulder whenever that happens. So that's what's going on right now with the team. And it's going to be very interesting here as things are really starting to ramp up, not only in recruiting, but also as the fall season draws near. King John, I love this comment. We are going to be a very fast team this year. As far as my comments go on how the things are looking, and again, it's shorts and t-shirt weather. It's not anything specific. It's more about just getting in shape, getting your speed up to the paces that it needs to be, getting used to that altitude. Guys, the team is going to be just fine when it comes to that. Between having Andrew Swayze, which again, I think is probably one of the best hires that Colorado had, best hires as of today that Colorado had in the offseason was naming Andrew Swayze the head of the strength conditioning program. There's a reason that so many NFL players still work out under Swayze. There's a reason that Alvin Kamara is coming to Boulder on a regular basis to work with Andrew Swayze. All of that is really important and probably one of the most important aspects to what Colorado did this offseason, and it's going to pay off in spades this season. Hopefully, it can keep more players out of the training room and on the field. Guys like your Michael Welsh, who just seem to be injured all the time. Let's hope that this year he can become that lead back or one of the main backs and be consistent throughout the year, because I truly do believe when people want to talk about the running back room and how we don't have the running backs we need or we need something else, which, by the way, we will talk about momentarily, but I still believe that Michael Welsh can be the best running back on this team. He can be one of the main running backs on this team, and I think it'll be fine going forward. So that is something to really pay attention to as we move into the season. How are the injuries on the team? Can players stay healthy? Can players stay on the field? As long as we can do that, I think we're going to be perfectly fine. Now, let's talk about the biggest news of the day, the actual breaking news that happened today, which was Deacon Schmidt announcing his final top 3 and his commitment date of June 28th. Now, the 3 teams are not surprising at all. I could have told you months ago that the top 3 teams going after Deacon Schmidt were Oklahoma, Alabama, and Colorado. It's been that way since day one. Now the question is, where are the teams going to stand? Now, I can see where TK is saying Deacon to OU. I think OU is going to be the one we are chasing. I think it's going to come down to Colorado and OU. And really what it comes down to, okay, these last 2 weeks. What can Colorado's recruiting staff show Deacon Schmidt to really make him feel like he is their number one priority above anything else? And that is simple. Visits, visits, visits. And the fact that Deacon Schmidt lives literally 45 minutes to an hour away from Boulder's campus tells me there should be no excuse that Coach Gunnar White is not there at least on a weekly basis. that, Andre Girard is not there at least on a weekly basis talking to Deacon Schmidt, talking to about what the plan is with him, what they see about him, why it's important that he stays home. That should be priority number one this next 2 weeks until he announces his commitment date. Now, I've talked about this. Brett College, he's not going to be committing till October. Deacon always was going to be committing early, and for the longest time, I thought it was a lock that Colorado was going to be there. I think the other teams are really pushing for Deacon Schmidt and showing him the love. And so this is going to be the important aspect. Now, what happens from there, I don't know with Deacon, but we need to be seeing those, in-home visits really heat up. There is no excuse. And the one thing I want to tell a lot of people out there, this past weekend, we had another guard for the 2026 class on a visit in Ben Gula. 4-star prospect, probably could be as good as Deacon Schmidt, guys. But here is why the Deacon Schmidt recruitment is extremely and of vital importance for Colorado. It is because he is a Colorado kid. Colorado needs to stop losing the recruiting battles for in-state kids. When you're in a state that there's maybe a handful of kids a year that are worth a Division I Power 4 offer, you need to be on top of those specific kids. It's harder for states like Georgia, Florida, California. And Texas. There are so many recruits that are coming out of those states each and every year that the local teams cannot keep all of them in state. It's just the way it is. But when you're a team like Colorado that wants to become a bigger player in recruiting, and a state like Colorado that does not have the abundance of talent and skill coming out of it on a regular basis, and I can speak on that from Colorado. I know the football scene. It's not what it is elsewhere. However, the trenches are where it's at in Colorado. And if we can start keeping some of these kids in state, that is going to make a big difference in recruiting moving forward, especially when offensive line and defensive line are such an important aspect to the high school recruiting game. It is. The best way to get a good offensive and defensive line is to develop young players from the high school ranks through their sophomore, junior year until they're ready to go. So that is why I would say that Deacon Schmidt has to be priority number one for Colorado. We need to start building the momentum of keeping kids in state and keeping them home. Okay? So that is something that we have to pay attention to. And to all the people in the chat that are saying, Deacon's going to the SEC. Breck is going to, the SEC. I get that. And they're absolutely leading the way. There are ways to get those guys to commit to Colorado. And really, the way you do it is by showing the love for those players, showing how important they are, making them feel like they are an important recruit in this process and not just a number as far as how many recruits there are. You got to be calling them regularly. You got to be going out and meeting them. We saw this firsthand, guys. It's the reason that Brett Bartolome is one of the best recruiters on this team. When it came to Gavin Mueller, he was literally seeing Gavin Mueller and visiting him 1 week, then the official visit, and then after that was going out and visiting him. That shows right there the importance that player is. Just simply sacrificing that and going to that kid's location and trying to close that deal is what needs to happen, okay? So that's something that we need to take a look at. If there are not signs of Colorado pushing for Deacon Schmidt in the next 2 weeks hard, publicly, I do think that Oklahoma will close the deal on Deacon just because of the last couple of weeks. So, to everybody out there, when we're trying to figure out what's going on, that's going to be the sign that it's happening. So If I don't see anything out of Colorado over the next couple of weeks, I will not be surprised if he commits to Oklahoma. I'm saying it now because I know I'll get a lot of people who are going to reach out to me on social media and said, I thought you said that Deacon was a lock. 2 months ago, I think Deacon was a lock. I think just with everything that's been kind of unfolding, how things have been happening, the things going on behind the scenes, I think that we have pulled back a little bit. I don't know if that's the team focusing on the other players. I don't know if that's the team pushing resources elsewhere. But for now, and this is a thing that can happen, other teams upping the resources for these specific players and making them a priority. It happens. It happens. So that's where it's at. That's what's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. But I think that, I think that overall, Breck, we'll see. I think he truly wants to see what Colorado does this season, whether or not we commit to the run. And if I'm being honest, so here's another thing I would like you guys to look at. Okay. If Deacon commits to a Bama or an Oklahoma at the end of the month, it does not close the door on Colorado. It's the age that we live in with college football. Commitments mean nothing until they sign on the dotted line. Commitments mean nothing if they sign on the dotted line. So that's where we're at, guys, when it comes to that. So he might commit there. If we have a great season and we dominate the running game and go against the grain of what everybody is saying, then I truly do think that we could see them being flip potential. A Deacon Schmidt, a Brett Cullejay could be flip potential if the team follows through on their promises. It could also mean the opposite. If Deacon somehow commits to Colorado June 28th and we look terrible this season, we don't run the ball like we were supposed to, I could see Deacon flip going the other way. So there's a lot of moving pieces to pay attention to, okay? A lot of moving pieces when it comes to that, and that's something to pay attention to and look, okay? I know there's a lot of conversation about the facilities. I'm a little surprised that there is a lot of conversation about the facilities, and I'm not sure that you guys know the history behind the facilities at Colorado. Because especially a comment that I just saw say that Colorado's not going to spend a ton of money on facilities. Do you realize that Colorado just spent that much on facilities? Like, do you not realize that? Like, Colorado has already spent a massive amount of money on facilities, almost $200 million that Colorado spent just before Coach Prime came to Colorado. You guys realize that? $200 million they just spent on facilities. The facilities are nearly brand new at Colorado. Like, I get that you guys are thinking, like, upgrades are one thing, guys, but they don't need a $250 or $300 million upgrade to the area. And I get that. The weight room, yeah, but guess what? There's nowhere to go. They don't have space to make the weight room any bigger than what it is. That weight room was brand new in 2023, I believe, or 2022. Like, just before Coach Prime came. It was part of the not the Kevin Durrell, the Midnight Mel. It was literally Mel Tucker brought success to the program, brought the new facilities, kicked rocks, left. Carl Durrell came in, sucked it up, and then Coach Prime became our coach. So that's what we're talking about here is the facilities are a massive thing, but we cannot do more things when it comes to expanding our facilities. We can upgrade what we already have. And like I said, the weight room's already upgraded. The training facility is top notch. I get it. There's just nowhere to put it. And the only thing that those facilities really have over us is locker rooms are different because they prioritize different things. But again, Colorado's locker room is brand new. All of that stuff is brand new. An upgrade is fine, and we absolutely probably will be upgrading a lot of stuff here in the near future for Colorado. Trust me, it's coming. You don't have Coach Prime as your coach without upgrades. This year's upgrade is the turf. They're putting a lot of upgrades onto the on-field stuff with the team. There's going to be other upgrades that are coming to the stadium. Last year, big new video board. As the money starts to trickle in more and more and more, they can do those sort of things and will want to do those sort of things. I think part of the problem right now is that, guys, here, I'm just letting you know. Just so you guys know, we are heading into an unprecedented time. With the House settlement, with the new quote-unquote internal salary cap. I say a quote because it is not a salary cap. I hate when people are saying that, I've seen so many people say that all of the teams are on level playing ground now, and everybody's going to have $20 million to spend on their players, and, that's all it's going to be. Guys, outside NIL is still going to be a thing. Outside NIL is still going to be a part of the sport, so bigger deals are going to come. It just means the schools themselves can fork out up to $20 million for the team on top of any outside NIL. Okay? So with that being said, we don't know what this looks like yet. Most schools don't know what this looks like yet. Colorado's got to be careful. They've got to make sure that they are competitive where it matters the most, on the field. Off the field, oh, there we go. You got the finance degree. Explain the CFP money so we can understand. Oh, there's a lot to it. And here's part of the problem. Here's part of the problem right now is we just don't know. The biggest problem with the NCAA right now is that everything is reactive. Nothing is proactive. It's part of the reason that the NCAA is crumbling. It is part of the reason that there are rumors of an SEC Super League that is coming. Because the NCAA themselves have constantly been reactive rather than proactive with getting ahead of things, they have put themselves in this position where they have no power. And so it very well could be 1 year that we have of this $20 million salary cap for schools. And that is, who knows what this is really going to look like. And in a year, it could be different. Schools are going to have to be smart with their money unless they have a booster who has bottomless pockets of cash, i.e. Michigan, i.e. Texas A&M. Those Mississippi, Ole Miss, sorry, not Mississippi. Those schools are going to be fine. It's going to be business normal. But everybody else is in this state where they just don't know what to do. They're going to go and take it year by year. What really needs to happen is, at this point, college sports need to just become semi-pro. They are technically semi-pro, but I mean truly go semi-pro. We need to get contracts. We need to get, things in place for the players. And those are all going to be important aspects moving forward. Texas Tech's another one. Yeah, you're good. Texas Tech's another one. But yes, you get what I'm saying, though. Like, even if I miss some schools, there are going to be some schools that have boosters who have limitless supplies of money that they're going to put out. Other schools, your Colorado, your Indiana, some of the other programs like that are up and coming in the world of NIL and in the world of college football are going to have to take things one step at a time. And they're going to be a little bit handcuffed until we truly know what's going on. And so they're going to play within the bounds of the rules given to them rather than kind of go ahead of that. And so those are going to be things that are going to be very important. And yes, like I said, top teams are going to be spending more than $20 million, and it's going to be through NIL deals. It's what I've said all along. They're not going to stop the kids from selling their name, image, likeness. And as long as that's allowed, which absolutely should be, Any booster can say, hey, I own a car dealership. I'm going to pay you $10 million to NIL my car dealership. Like, those things are going to always happen. So anybody that thought that this was somehow a salary cap for 20 million and a half, you're absolutely wrong. So, and to this, I haven't heard this anywhere. Even if it was true, I'd like to see the NCAA police this. It would bring another lawsuit, and that lawsuit would be lost, and we would again be in the Wild West because, like I said, the NCAA has no power right now, and people realize that. They have no power whatsoever. Yeah, Reggie Calhoun, he's getting ahead of this stuff. He's trying to be on top of this stuff. We're trying to be on top of this stuff as a team. But we're still kind of reacting to everything that's going on. We really, really do. If they're doing contracts, you can forget about schoolwork. I think that school will be a thing of the past eventually. Like I said, I think that football teams will just become semi-pro teams representing a school and have nothing to do with the actual scholarship part, school part of it. That's really where it's at. Reggie Calhoun, he leads the found, like, I don't even know what to call it now at this point. It is the salary cap, general manager, so to speak, the money aspect of how we're doing NIL deals. That's what he's in charge of now. Texas, Ohio State got the top spenders. Michigan's got the top spender. I'm sorry, but Michigan is spending the most money right now, and that is a given fact. Okay? Right now, Michigan is the highest spending football team in the entire country, hands down. They've got a literally limitless supply of money from the richest man in America, because his wife is an alum, giving them whatever they want. And then Barstool Sports is also then matching it with Dave Portnoy going along. So they've got two massive donors that are just giving endless supplies of money to Michigan to try and win a national championship. So you have the advantage because the head coach is a big-time businessman. Well, and see, that is where Colorado, and again, I have this conversation on every stream, and it's calling out people that say Colorado doesn't have money. Colorado has Coach Prime. They're in a different category altogether for what they offer. They're offering something very specific outside of just straight cash. And that can be valuable to some people. That won't be valuable to some people either. You know, your Michigans, your Ohio States, your Texas, your Ole Miss, you know, Texas A&M, Texas Tech. Those schools, it's just pure money. It's pure money. It is, we're going to throw as much money as we can at every player we can until we put together the team we like and we win something. So that's where it's at. Colorado's got a good pool of money. Colorado could have $300, $500 million to spend on the team this year. And guess what? Coach Prime is not spending that. The problem is not Boulder's donors. The problem is not the money. If you want a problem, you can complain about Coach Prime. I'm not going to, because I like what he's doing, and I think it's eventually going to work. I really do. I really, really do. It would be nice if teams could add trade clauses in the contract, Lowell. If T-Rams picked up players in the portal, there should be some kind of compensation. Well, and that, King John, is what I'm talking about when I talk about contracts. What I would like to see when it comes to sports, the thing that I want to see is I want to see contracts just like the coaches' contracts. So instead of trades, I want to see buyout clauses. So the players, if they want to go on the portal, they can go to another school, but that team is going to have to pay out a buyout to that player in order to get them. That's what I would like to see. And I would like to see guaranteed contracts too. I would like to see it help the players as well. So we don't have your Jalen Rashadas. You know, you don't have the stories about the players not getting paid what they were promised. None of this, you know, backdoor trunk of the car situation type money dealings. I would like it all to be transparent. I would like the contracts to be transparent. I would like to know what's going on. And I think the fans would as well, because I think we as fans would like to know, hey, who's the players that are truly going to commit to this program? You know, Based on their contract, can I be assured that Julian Lewis is here for 3 years? You know? And if he leaves for whatever reason, the team will be compensated in some way to try and replace him. That's what I would like to be at some point. I would like to feel more comfortable in what my team is rather than it being, and it is a mercenary sport right now. It is a mercenary sport with very, very little commitment and loyalty. A guy like Jordan Seaton is the epitome of loyalty. And you guys can admit to that. Because I guarantee you that there were teams that reached out to Jordan Seaton this offseason and offered him a boatload of cash. A boatload of cash. Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing is there should be a standard buyout number for each position, keep teams from running it up and locking players in. I would agree on that. And it's up to the player. Here's the thing, too. I would agree on that. Yeah. So if I sign a deal for a team and I'm here 3 years and all of a sudden they bring in way too many players in my position and now I'm way down the depth chart and I want out, maybe an exit clause that doesn't require a buyout. King John, maybe if you didn't play a certain number of snaps the prior year or something, I could see something like that added. That's another good point to have now that we're thinking about it. Because again, I do not want to screw the kids over. I do not want to screw the kids over in this because they got screwed over for decades upon decades with the teams making money hand and foot over the players not being able to earn a cent. So absolutely. Seaton is guaranteed top 10 player when he comes out for the draft. Oh, yeah, Seaton's going in. Yeah, he definitely got a boatload of cash. And he stuck around. And to be honest, I brought up Julian Lewis's name just because he'd probably be one of the biggest losses we could have next to Jordan Seaton. I don't think Julian Lewis is going anywhere no matter what this season. I saw a stupid rumor that some fake website put out there that if Julian Lewis doesn't start this year, he's transferring. That's not happening, okay? There's a reason that Julian Lewis is here in the first place. And so I don't think that's happening, but that's what we're going on. What I would do is force the college to pay 35 to 50K for each D2, 50 to 75 for each group of 5, force them to pay for 10 to 50% of the Power 4 players on top of their cap. Yeah. There's a lot we could do to help the sport and help the smaller programs be feeder teams into the Power 4. And if we want to be smart, we would get ahead of that. But that's probably not going to happen because the NCAA and everybody else involved is not smart. Yeah, Julian Lewis is the quarterback in waiting next year. I think he understands that, guys. I really do. Julian Lewis has entrenched himself as the next force to CU and CFB. He's bringing people to him. Smoke on 24/7 has been saying that mess. Yeah, it's not happening, guys. Julian Lewis is much more. Hey, Ross, we'll eventually need Buff News daily from you. Hey, we might be daily by that time. Mind you, the weekly name came from the original idea, which was me just doing pre-recorded, highly edited news videos each week, which, by the way, took a long time to put together. Not as fruitful as these live streams, surprisingly. So swapped it up, can do this more on-the-cuff type of radio show. I mean, honestly, if I were to redo everything again, I would change the name from Buffs News Weekly to Buffs News Radio. Because really what we're doing now is a radio type show. Your 3-hour block in the afternoon, sports radio, host comes in, maybe brings in some other people, has you guys, the callers, calling in and talking about the different subject matter of the show. That's really what this format is. So I would definitely have a Buffs News Radio as the name if we did all over again. Doesn't mean they shouldn't recruit a quarterback in the 26 class. I don't think they won't. They've definitely been going after quarterbacks in the 26 class for sure. Eric, Colorado doing so well so far, 2 days in. Talked about it at the beginning of the show. Probably won't be until July that I have my studio set up all done to my liking. So bear with me as we do kind of the headphones, webcam on a single computer type thing. But stick with me, especially if you're someone new watching this later on. This is not how it usually is. The production value is gonna increase drastically here pretty soon. Russ, you should have a call-in line to your show. That would actually be dope. And we can do that. I'm going to look at doing that here coming up in July, and especially for the season. I would love to do a Monday morning overreaction show. I worked at one of the local radio stations. We did that every Monday for the Denver Broncos. And it was all about people calling in, getting things off of their chest from the game the previous weekend. I think we're going to look to do that, guys, on Mondays. So we'll call it the Buffs Overreaction Show every Monday afternoon, late in the afternoon, and hopefully that's something you guys want to be a part of. And we'll do it. I will let live callers come in, and I'll screen callers, and we'll do that come this fall. So be on the lookout for that. It's something I've been really paying attention to. Johnny Jones, I thought he would be the Chauncey Gooden commit. I didn't think. I really think the only guys we're in on hardcore is Deacon and Breck when it comes to O-line. I think anybody else is just kicking the tires on them to see if potential they'd be interested. But I think those are our main two targets, if I'm being honest. Many commitments to be a backup, or at least what they end up being. See the elite blue bloods. Yep. Kids are going to have to start learning. Kids are going to have to start learning. For sure. Let me see what else. Let me see if I missed any other comments that you guys had up here, because you guys were talking fairly good here for a while. Oh, not seeing anything so far. Okay, so other than that, a couple of visits happened this past weekend, or I think the prior weekend again. Time is kind of disappearing on me. Jordan Clay, 4-star wide receiver, came on a visit. Ben Gula, 4-star inside lineman, came on a visit. And right now, if I'm being honest, guys, we're probably going to get another 2 to 3 5 or 4-star wide receivers in this recruiting class. So that's going to be a big thing to pay attention to. I'm not worried about wide receiver. We'll always get somebody good, a couple of guys that are really good in each class. That's just who we are. Now, the big one I want to talk about, and I do want to do a deep dive into him, is Simeon Price, who is a running back that out of nowhere transferred, committed to Colorado as a transfer running back from Coastal Carolina. Started his career at Mississippi State. Some stats about Simeon Price: 6 foot, 215 pounds. Had an okay year last year, was not the bell cow back, was not the lead back, but did okay in the time that he had. Okay. So a little bit about Simeon Price and what he can bring to Colorado. Okay. Give me 2 seconds here as I bring him up. Okay. So his grades were actually not bad. Okay. His grades were actually not bad. 66 overall. Okay. Pretty even across the board for his year last year. 3.1 yards per carry, so not bad. Okay. His best games of the season came against, it looks like, yardage wise, 38 yards on 7 carries against Louisiana Lafayette. Only took 9 snaps, so not very much playing time. Okay. So that could be the other part of this too, guys. Let me pull up real quick his receiving. That is something I want to take a look at, because that might tell us if it truly was a Marshall Faulk pick. So just 1 game, 2 targets, 2 catches for 7 yards. Graded out pretty well. His ooh, guys, look at this. Okay. That might explain a little bit. Pretty good grades in the pass blocking. Pretty good grades in the pass blocking game, even though he saw very little playing time. So actually was a pass blocker first, it would seem. Overall, sorry, let's see. Total snaps. Yeah, not bad. So again, the big thing with this player that you guys got to realize, because again, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, this is not, it's not turning up the needle. It's not turning up the dial at all. This is not what Colorado needs. We need other running backs. I'm trying to say, guys, the big thing with running backs right now, and I said it earlier, Michael Welsh, Dallin Hayden, those are your main two guys. Okay. If we get a little bit better blocking up front, I think those guys are going to be just fine. Getting guys like a Simeon Price, getting a DeKalon Taylor, who, by the way, I think can also play a big part in this offense this year. We're going to be okay. Running back is not the issue. Offensive line was the issue more than anything. Okay, because there's a couple things you got to realize. There are generational running backs out there. Generational running backs make a team look good even if the line is not blocking well. Those are not available very frequently. Okay. That is what your Ashton Genty was last year. Some of the other Big 12 running backs were like that. Your Ollie Gordon, your Gideons, your, those running backs are going to be guys who can make things happen even when the blocking isn't great. What Colorado truly needs, and especially when you have a quarterback like Caden Salter, is we just need a decent running back, a consistent running back, and a good offensive line, and we will be just fine. We do not need a game-breaking running back right now. Like, would it be great to have? Yes. I'm not saying that a team doesn't need that at all. Having one of those is a luxury that a team can compete for a championship with. But in that place, if you have a little bit more consistency, you have better offensive line, and you have a quarterback that is a dual threat like a Caden Salter, you're going to be just fine. That's not going to be a problem whatsoever. Okay? So that is what we're looking at here this year. I keep telling people, like, everyone's like, oh, we didn't get the running back. Oh, Marshall Faulk's a failure. I think the problem is that we just didn't have a lot of options because of when Marshall Faulk was hired, because of what's going on with the team. I think what needs to happen is we need to show that we can run the ball somewhat successfully. And then we need an entire year of Marshall Faulk then being able to grab some guys. This is more of a let's get enough together to just be able to compete. We improved that offensive line because that was a priority this offseason. So now let's see what happens this year and see how that can build out. We need a running back that can make people miss, someone who can cut. We have a power running back. And I think DeKalon Taylor can be that a little bit. I think, if I'm being honest, like Michael Welsh did a pretty darn good job. I get that he's more of a bowling ball type guy, but he also did enough with not being get pulled down at the line of scrimmage. Okay. We need a running back who can consistently carry for 4 yards a carry. 4-yard average per carry. Who says he isn't? He hasn't yet. Seriously, Marshall Faulk has been in his position for 4 months now? 5 months? And that's in the middle of a recruiting cycle? I don't know what you want to say with that. And I didn't know that there were these like world-beating running backs in the transfer portal after Marshall Faulk came. Like that's my question. Like, I'm gonna give it a year, just like there's all these things kind of playing. I'm not gonna immediately call for Marshall Faulk's head because he's been here 4 months and hasn't got a 5-star running back on this roster. Like, the reason why Marshall Faulk is here, he is here to turn around the running game in an actual game. That will then lead to running backs who say, you know what? Colorado isn't so bad at running the ball. Maybe I am interested in going there. Oh, now I get to, get coached by Marshall Faulk. I get to talk to Marshall Faulk on my recruiting visits. That's kind of the dominoes that are going to happen. The first step is going to be getting the team to play differently on Saturdays. I mean, we'll see what happens with KJ Edwards. We get KJ Edwards, like, there it is, right there. He actually did exactly that. I would have loved the Cal running back. I'm not butthurt over it to where the season's over. Of course I wanted him. Who wouldn't want him? Okay, with who we got as well. I don't think that the Cal running back Makes us a national championship winner. I think he would have been great to have. I'm interested to see what happens with this, especially after the tweets that happened last week, where somebody tweeted that Cam needs to be running back and his mom retweeted it. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what Cam has. Thinks missing the Cal running back because he went for a bag as an L on Falk and kills the team. Some of the fans aren't even fans of CU. They just in here talking out the side of the neck. I saw your comment, by the way, bandwagon Browns earlier. I made the same comment on Twitter. There are a few highly vocal, highly visible CU fans. I will not put any names to them. I will not call them out right now because they also like to just hold internet grudges for whatever reason. And I don't have time for that. And I don't want to have to block people either. But there are way too many CU fans who I don't think are longtime CU fans because there is one of them that is a longtime CU fan, and he is just the most miserable person I've ever seen on the internet. I seriously wonder to myself, why even be a fan if you were going to be that upset? There's one thing criticizing a team for mistakes, right? And criticizing a team for decisions that they make, but they criticize everything. Everything. They crash out over everything. Everything that happens online is another point to show how terrible CU is. And yet they call themselves a CU fan. And I'm just like, what's the point of being a fan then? What's the point of being a fan if everything is going to be horrible? Like at that point, I see haters who do that and call out CU for it. Absolutely. Makes sense to me. But a person who claims to be a CU fan who just hates everything that happens, you're a miserable person. Yeah. Coach Prime did attract some pretty good players in a few months. Yeah, he did. But, King John, very well, because we were still 4-8. So he didn't attract that good of players. He attracted quote unquote good players who didn't end up being good players. And Coach Prime learned his lesson very quickly that it's not about just going for the name recognition or the stars. It's about going for the right fit. That was the biggest thing that Coach Prime learned in that first year. It's the biggest thing that Coach Prime learned in that first year and what changed. Because, yeah, on paper, we loved what we saw. On the field, we did not. So there's that. $19.96. Appreciate you, Blessed. Let's see what you had. They are miserable on X. Oh, I stay off of Twitter. That a bad pot right there. Eric, I'll admit, I started watching, caring about Colorado football when Coach Prime got hired. No one cared about anything Colorado until Coach Prime got here. He pulled them out of their grave. And Eric, I'm fine with that. See, you guys know me. You know that I'm one of the few out there who's not going to parade this whole me versus them mentality when it comes to the newer fans and the old fans. I just want people to be fans of the team. I don't care if you're a bandwagon. I don't care if you're a Coach Prime fan. I don't care if you're a longtime CU fan. This whole gatekeeping in sports needs to stop. It needs to stop. It's getting so annoying that this happens all the time. It really, really does. It really does. We should talk about Will Shepard working out with Broncos. I'm keeping an eye on that. I want to see if he makes the team. I hope he gets to stick with him. It sucked what happened. I don't know why he failed his physical. But watching the Buffs in the NFL right now is honestly, it's proving exactly what's happening in Colorado. And I don't care what anybody's going to say. I don't care what Don't Give a Damn's going to say about recruiting and who's going where. Colorado's laying a blueprint and a reputation for what kind of players they're bringing into the NFL. And they bring guys who are NFL ready and who work their butts off. And as an NFL coach, GM, scout, any of that stuff, you're taking note of that. And as long as the coaching staff is staying consistently the same at Colorado, they can know by reputation alone that I can go find a LeJohntay Wester from Colorado. I can go find a Cam Silman-Craig from Colorado. I can go find a Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. They make specific types of players. And the media-driven story that Colorado is somehow just full of these big-headed, bombastic, larger-than-life players who only care about themselves for whatever reason because Coach Prime is their coach, are finding out very quickly that that was fake. And so seeing them succeed at the next level as they have been in all the camps and all the good press that we're getting out of this is going to be impactful for moving forward in the future and what happens to Colorado players being drafted. It truly, truly is. Every available player is not suited for CU. Hall of Fame chat don't watch football. Half the chat don't watch football. It's true. It's true. CU alumni are haters as well. Here's the thing. Chad is a very decisive person, Keith. I worked with Chad when I was at the radio station. He's an interesting guy. I will say that. I'm not surprised that he behaves the way that he does and calls out the program the way that he does. He is a very opinionated person. Where Matt McChesney is a larger-than-life, outspoken type of guy. Again, I'm fine with his takes. They are what they are. We don't always agree. Chad Brown, very similar in that he is very outspoken on a lot of different things and very opinionated about a lot of things. I think for the most part, though, a lot of alum love Coach Prime and love what he's doing for the program. All they care about is CU being back in the spotlight and back to relevance. There are some people out there that are not as keen to that because I think they like the legacy that they had better than watching a new legacy be created. Some fans think that every great player should go to CU. That's not how it works. Fans freak out if they don't land a top player. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. It's weird not keyboarding kung fuing with the haters this year. A lot probably moving to 12. Yeah, if you want to get a part of that hating, Demistocles, just go Cleveland Browns. Go Cleveland Browns. Because it's bad over there, guys. It is bad over there what's happening right now with 12. Coach Prime's first year, he had to just get people. He really had no time to recruit. He just had a roster flip and a major changes both on and off the field. Look at that Cleveland fan base. They can't take the influx. It's rough. I think it's really refreshing to see Juju come out of his shell, letting his personality show. I think that will track a lot more with the players. And it takes some time. I can tell. Julian Lewis is, even though he's in the spotlight, he's an introvert, guys. And it's going to take some time to get him out of his shell, and he's starting to. He is. I think he's starting to enjoy himself. I think coming to Colorado, even though you're in the spotlight, quote unquote, I think it's a little bit different than an Ohio State, than a USC, than those blue blood programs. It's a different kind of spotlight. It's a more local spotlight there. Versus Colorado is a national spotlight, which may seem weird, and maybe you guys can kind of stick with me on this. But he gets the attention nationally when it comes to NIL and that stuff. But Julian Lewis can just be a person in Boulder. He can just be a person. And I think that can help his personality and help what he's doing, and help him just focus on football. It really does, I think. And in all honesty, I think that's where we're at. I can't wait to see Bucky at Browns training camp next month. We'll see if he's there. We'll see if he's there or what he's doing there. Now, our defense is just going to be all dogs. Tafika's actually surprised me with his conditioning. I can't wait to see them with pads on. King John, that defense is going to eat. That defense is going to eat. I'm liking what I'm seeing. The kid is putting his head down. He's working hard. I think that eventually he will be a big part of this team. I don't think it's this year, but I think it is going to be a big part of this team coming up. I truly do. Calling Matt C a hater. Who called Matt C a hater? Not sure there. Eric Russ, do you think we'll land Deacon going against Oklahoma? I talked about this earlier, Eric. I think let's see what happens the next 2 weeks. If Colorado's going hard after Deacon and we see it publicly, I think we got a better chance. I think right now I'm leaning Oklahoma, but I also don't think that that's a lock because I think he could be a flip candidate. Because if Colorado comes out next year, keeps courting Deacon, brings him to a game because again we're in his backyard, runs the ball. I think he could be a flip candidate if he does commit to someone else. Watch once the season starts, that Georgia Tech win hits, there's going to be all kinds of crazy motion happening. Oh, we'll be back in that national spotlight more than anything else. Unbelievably. It'll be unbelievable. Juju's not your typical 17-year-old. He seems way more mature than what his kids his age. I do. I love that about Juju. I mean, he is, in the words of Coach Prime and his nickname for Shador, Juju is grown. Like, I have to constantly remind myself he's 17. I saw a post, I think it was the post about him leaving if he doesn't start, how he's 18 and he wants to start right away, blah, blah. And I'm like, he's not 18. He's not 18 right now. He's literally a year behind. So sitting a year is not a bad thing for Julian Lewis. Did Matt or Chad or any alum get interviewed before Coach Prime to be the coach, Kenny? No. No, they did not. Matt has been interviewed a number of times for the offensive line job and not gotten them each of those times. Yeah, Cam, that's a good example. BJ was a little bit hesitant of the cameras and stuff when he first got here. And then as the season went on, he opened up and really became kind of his own. Every kid we hit their final five will be flip candidates come season time. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen this year. I think there's going to be a lot more flips this year than early commitments from players. See, here's my thing about Deacon. What if he doesn't like it at CU and leaves after 1 year? Like, are we putting too much stock in the guy? I don't know. I'm asking. I think the difference is him being a hometown kid, King John. I think it's him being a home. That's why this whole thing is going the way it is. That's why I don't think that he's not going to like it. The kid has grown up around CU. The kid has grown up in Colorado. His parents are literally within driving distance of the school. There's a little bit of something different versus if he was like, if we're talking about Deacon in the same way we were talking about like somebody who was in Maryland or in some other state, I would understand thinking that as well. But I think that's what it looks like. This team is elevated and coached by professionals. Social media experts can't coach their own kids in Little League. I love that comment, Kenny. The problem Colorado's going to have is recruiting quarterbacks is they have to believe it is basically Juju's spot anointed for 2026, 2027, and 2028. Yeah, they're probably not going to get a top quarterback in the class maybe for a year or two. Juju and Q6 are best friends on the CU team. I love the bonding that we're seeing, guys. I really do. That's how you keep guys around. It really is. That's how you do it. What other positions do you see we need to add if we do? Sunshine, I'm probably thinking we still need to but there aren't any. I mean, linebacker, we could use one. There's really not much else to add. As bad as that sounds, we're only at 77 scholarships, I believe is what Adam Munster Tiger said. 76. So we've got scholarship room, but there's just nothing in the portal happening right now. Wait till Juju see one of them big ass moose walking around. He's gonna be a state introvert. I love it. Oh, bandwagon Browns. Russ, what's your thoughts on how the Browns have been handling Shador so far? I hate it. I hate the whole thing. They created the circus. The Browns created the circus, guys. By not taking Shador when they should have taken him, by taking Dylan Gabriel, by then going on to take Shador Sanders anyway, they created the circus. They are the problem. They will always be the problem. Even if Shador somehow finds his way to the top of the depth chart, They're going to have to admit that Dylan Gabriel was a stupid pick. They're going to look stupid in it. They don't want to look stupid. So until they change the GM and who's running the team, they're going to look dumb. They really, really are going to look dumb this whole time. Love your show. Coach Prime relied on the chat. Dylan Edwards would still be here. Any news on Vickers? I haven't heard anything on Vickers. I don't know what's going on with him. I really don't. Cleveland Browns don't deserve Shador Sanders. They really don't. He is absolutely balling out, and people are still downplaying it. I'm sorry, but I've watched many of. Okay, Vickers has been working out. That's good. That's good to hear that Vickers is back to working. That's always scary. I'm glad that he's there. But when it comes to this, guys, watching a lot of mini camps over the years, I have seen quarterbacks who are really good quarterbacks not be perfect, not look the best, but also don't look bad. I mean, Shador Sanders looks unbelievable in all of the mini camps so far. Unbelievable. So, for people downplaying it, one of two things is happening. Either the team is telling the media they need to downplay it so that fans don't jump on the whole, like, he needs to start, or something else needs to happen. I don't know. But the whole thing is just, it's a clown show at this point. It's an absolute clown show. Don't clown DE. If you see him now, he's gotten a lot bigger over at Kansas. I would love to still have Dylan Edwards. I would. I think he would have been pretty good here. I think he would have had a big part of this team going forward. We'll see what happens next year when he becomes one of their lead backs. See, you've got flashbangs, so many skilled players, unimaginable. Okay, guys, I appreciate you. I'm really tired. Had full work today. Been unpacking. Gonna still keep unpacking for a while. So appreciate you guys for sticking with me. We'll come back later on this week with more shows. So thank you guys for coming back. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys share the videos, share the channel, hit that like button. I haven't even said that yet today. Hit that like button while you're in here. That helps for the recording of the show to get out there. But I appreciate you guys so much for constantly supporting, being there, being a part of this. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff coming up. So make sure that you are tuned in for that. Until our next show for Buffs News Weekly, I'm Russ. Go Buffs.